The rain would not stop falling on New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and inside the cockpit of the number 77 Chevrolet, Carson Hocevar was about to make a decision that would ignite one of the biggest controversies of the 2026 NASCAR season. Visibility was low, the wet weather tires were barely gripping the slick asphalt. And in the next few seconds, a spin would happen that two-time champion Kyle Larson would later call the biggest act in the sport. This is the story of how a single spin during a rain delay turned into a full-blown accusation of fakery, dragged in three of the biggest names in the garage, and left fans questioning whether Carson Hocevar's entire on-track persona is real or manufactured for television. Before we get into how this exploded, if you're new here, this channel is NASCAR Voltage, and we're closing in on our first 1,000 subscribers. If you want more breakdowns like this delivered straight and fast, hitting subscribe genuinely helps this channel grow, and your support is what allows us to keep bringing this kind of content every single week. The incident took place during the Dollar Tree 301, a race that was already disrupted by heavy rain before the green flag even dropped. NASCAR forced the entire field onto wet weather tires, and drivers were sent out for pace laps to test grip levels on a track that was still dangerously slick. It was during this pre-race window, before the race had technically started, that Carson Hocevar lost control and spun out in turn 4. The first reaction came almost instantly from a driver running right behind him. Joey Logano, watching the spin unfold in real time from his own car, was caught on his radio saying, "Look at this idiot." It was blunt, immediate, and unfiltered, exactly the kind of reaction that gets replayed across broadcast highlights for days. Hocevar himself offered an explanation shortly after. According to his own account, he was simply trying to test the track's grip level, while no other cars were nearby, rather than waiting for the green flag like the rest of the field. On the surface, it looked like a simple racing mishap during a difficult weather situation, the kind of moment that usually fades from headlines within a day. Except it did not fade. Instead, it became the center of a much bigger conversation once Kyle Larson weighed in. Appearing as a guest on the Door Bumper Clear podcast, Larson did not treat the spin as an accident. He treated it as a calculated move for camera time. His exact words were direct. "I mean, spinning out before the race, that was 1,000% just to get on TV." This was not a passing comment. Larson is a former NASCAR Cup Series champion, and when a driver of his stature makes an accusation like that, it does not stay contained to one podcast episode. It spreads across every major racing outlet within hours. Larson did not stop at the spin itself. He extended the accusation into a broader pattern, suggesting that Hocevar's entire aggressive, chaotic driving identity has become something exaggerated beyond what is authentic to him. In his own words, "I don't think you have to totally neuter him, but I almost feel like he's at the point now where he's like, doing it even like it's not really him. It's a piece of him, but he's going above what he really is." Interquace. This was Larson essentially saying that Hocevar's brand of chaos might no longer be a natural personality trait, but a performance being amplified for attention and relevance. Then came the callback that gave the accusation real teeth. Larson brought up an incident from earlier at Iowa Speedway, where he claimed Hocevar deliberately went after Christopher Bell after being lapped. Larson's exact words were, "The camera didn't catch it at Iowa. I doubt. I don't know, but he was trying to spear Christopher Bell." He continued, describing how Hocevar appeared to target Bell twice in a row. When he got lapped for the second time, he was trying to spear Christopher Bell for 2 laps. And then he delivered the line that summed up his entire frustration. "You admit that you wrecked yourself, but then you still go out and run right through him the next chance you get." This was no longer just about one spin in the rain. Larson was painting a picture of a driver who, in his view, repeatedly uses aggression as a tool rather than a byproduct of hard racing. Larson was not the only voice from that podcast, adding weight to the narrative. Co-host Brett Griffin joined in, framing Hocevar's reputation in blunt terms, describing him as someone who has become Mr. Excitement, and noting that, for better or worse, he's going to find himself on TV every week somehow. With a second voice now reinforcing the idea that attention-seeking behavior defines Hocevar's on-track identity, it started to feel like more than just one driver's opinion. It started to feel like a consensus forming inside the garage. At this point, the natural question becomes whether Larson is exposing something the entire garage has quietly known for a while, or whether a 23-year-old driver trying to establish himself in one of the toughest sports in America is simply being piled on by more established veterans. Hocevar is in just his third full season in the Cup Series, and building an identity in a field filled with champions is not easy. Aggressive driving has helped him stand out, but it has also made him a target whenever something goes wrong. And this is not the first time Hocevar has been on the receiving end of criticism from Larson specifically, nor is it the first time he has refused to stay quiet about it. Earlier this year, following a qualifying session at Sonoma, Larson publicly called Hocevar immature. Rather than absorb the criticism silently, Hocevar clapped back on social media with a sharp, sarcastic response. "They frun. Let an 8-year-old qualify on the front row." It was a direct shot back at a two-time champion, and it showed that Hocevar does not shy away from confrontation, even when the criticism comes from one of the biggest names in the sport. That is consistent with how Hocevar has responded to criticism throughout his career. He has previously dismissed backlash from fans and fellow competitors with the attitude that these guys take things way too seriously. It is a mentality that has earned him a loyal fan base who see him as unfiltered and authentic, while simultaneously making him an easy target for veterans who feel his approach crosses a line. Interestingly, even in the middle of accusing Hocevar of manufacturing his image, Larson did not deny his talent. In the same conversation, Larson acknowledged, "He's phenomenal. He's going to win a lot of races." That single line complicates the entire narrative. Larson is not saying Hocevar lacks skill. He is saying that the skill is real, but the persona built around it might be exaggerated for effect. If you're finding this breakdown useful, drop a comment with your take, and share this with another NASCAR fan who needs to see this. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next. The controversy did not stop with the pre-race spin either. During the race itself, Hocevar made contact with Connor Zilisch while attempting to clear him for position, spinning out a second time. That moment drew criticism from a third major name in the garage. Denny Hamlin, the current points leader, addressed the incident on his own podcast, Actions Detrimental, stating, "It looked like the 77 one was trying to clear himself. Evidently, he was 3 wide." With Hamlin now weighing in alongside Larson and Logano, the criticism was no longer isolated to one podcast appearance. It had become a pattern of veteran drivers publicly questioning Hocevar's on-track decision-making within the same race weekend. The stakes behind all of this go beyond just reputation. Hocevar drives for Spire Motorsports, a team that has built its identity around being the scrappy underdog operation in the Cup Series garage. Every point, every headline, and every controversy carries extra weight for a team fighting for legitimacy against the sport's biggest organizations. A story like this either reinforces the perception of Hocevar as a reckless liability, or it fuels the narrative of a young underdog being unfairly targeted by drivers who have already won championships and do not want to make room for the next generation. Fans have split sharply over the situation. Some believe Larson's accusation confirms what they had already suspected, that Hocevar's aggressive persona has become a calculated brand rather than a natural driving style. Others see this as 3 champions ganging up on a rookie who is simply trying to survive in a sport that does not make room easily for newcomers who refuse to stay quiet. What is clear is that this is no longer just a rain delay spin that will be forgotten by the next race weekend. Kyle Larson, a 2-time champion, has gone on record accusing Carson Hocevar of manufacturing controversy for television attention. Hocevar has a history of firing back rather than backing down. And now Denny Hamlin has added his own criticism into the mix, all within the same Dollar Tree 301 weekend. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed to NASCAR Voltage so you don't miss the next update on this story, because this rivalry is far from finished. Comment your take below, share this with a fellow NASCAR fan, and let us know which side of this you're on.